I think this is a triple digit stock, and I think we will see triple digits within. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today I will be making the bull case for Robinhood, the stock, the company, and what it has in the near future. I have a Robinhood position with about close to 1,200 shares, 1,200 shares. And this is a picture of me cheesing from the last time that we rallied to like $65. And honestly, we're not too far from that now. A couple things I want to break down in this video. First, I made a little model myself of the projected revenue for Robinhood with all their different branches. But before we get into that, I want to showcase the actual tree of profit fruit, as I call it, that I created. Well, ChatGPT helped me create it. And this is it right here. And this is going to help you guys understand why Robinhood is a business that nobody really can see it this way. Most people look at it as just like a place people go to gamble or trade stocks and crypto. And it's like this like chaotic Gen Z younger retail investor crowd, right? But it's transformed so much since their IPO in 2021, and even more so since the creation of the company or launch in 2015. Robinhood right now has 9 separate businesses that are generating each over $100 million or more, right? And this is the breakdown of the Robinhood tree. So they have their options, equities, and crypto, and also gold subscriptions that are a majority of their revenue. Also, we can throw margin lending in there because that's growing quite a bit as well to 300 million a year. But then they also have all these other businesses that they've added in the last couple of years. And the beautiful thing is that they can keep doing that, right? So Robinhood, you should look at it, a finance platform, but with software margins that can create infinite verticals, right? New businesses with fixed costs and a big, giant, growing user base. So the newest ones are prediction markets, right? You can bet on sporting event outcomes, or we saw the first one was really the presidential race, right? You can bet on Trump or Kamala Harris to win. That was kind of the introduction, dipping their toes in the water. And now that has an infinite expansion because it could be bet on, will the Fed hike interest rates in the next meeting or will they lower them? I mean, you can look at any prediction market out there and you can place a prediction market on literally any pop culture event, finance event there is, right? So they keep a small profit from every contract that is placed, and you can do the math of how much, that's going to take off in the coming years as well. Prediction markets are one of their newer features. Futures is also one of the newer features. And their credit card is also brand new, right? The gold credit card, and that's ramping up as well. I think there's about 200K rolled out and like a wait list of 2 million people, I believe. So, the same way banks make money on credit cards, Robinhood can do the same. By the way, I have their gold credit card and it is amazing. Best in the market, 3% cash back on everything. They're really closing the loop. I mean, I'm doing my spending through Robinhood's ecosystem. I am doing all my investing, any trading. I'm earning interest. So it's like my piggy bank. It's literally becoming like the Apple ecosystem that just pulls you in and just keeps you there. A far cry from what they used to be, or how they used to be looked at as just like the GameStop, the Reddit meme stock place where people go. Not the case at all. Let's take this back, right? And this is one of an Instagram reel I'd made. I dug up old videos from, mainstream media because I started liking the stock when it was around $8, $9, $10, $11. And this was in like early 2023. Because I saw how much it dropped, right? And it just did not make sense. But let me play this for you really quick.
Robinhood hitting its lowest level since last year's IPO.
I never thought there was anything particularly innovative about Robinhood. People will say in single digits it's cheap. Still nothing cheap about it.
So I'm thinking about adding more Robinhood shares.
$15 billion enterprise value. I just don't see any value.
And I'm not sure it's time to nibble here.
Y'all are so scary, man. You're supposed to be active when there's blood on the streets. My Robinhood spot. So basically, as you can see, right, and I saw it in real time, everybody was counting Robinhood out. Right. This was after the 2022 drop where, there was a bit of mixed sentiment regarding the whole GameStop thing, which in retrospect was just, I knew all along it wasn't any malicious conspiracy. I did the research and saw that it was like a, collateral clearinghouse issue where they just didn't have enough collateral to put down. I won't get into that too much, but I knew that, everybody was seeing it as, that gray cloud over it of like the whole GameStop thing. And it's like still this like new startup that had been live for like 5 years only at the time. And now, it's very much matured and growing incredibly fast. In fact, now I'm starting to see capitulation. Every mainstream media, everybody's kind of, coming to the point where they're bowing down and saying, okay, Robinhood proved itself. It outgrew that whole meme stock retail investor home base. And now it has a huge retirement 401k Roth. People with real money are putting their money into Robinhood. So there's a lot I want to talk about. So we probably should start with, before I get into my price predictions and this little model that I made. A lot of people don't know Robinhood made it way better for retail traders. years. I remember when I first started, dabbling in stocks in like 2013, it cost like, I think on TD Ameritrade, it was like $10 per trade, right? So when you buy a stock, you have to pay them $10. When you sell it, you have to pay them another $10. It was kind of crazy. In fact, it was really crazy. But all these legacy, it was like E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, you name those like old legacy boomer brokers, that's how they were getting rich, right? Every single trade, they would charge $5 to $10, and they thought that would last forever. Then Robinhood came around and said, yeah, we're not going to do that. Hence the name Robinhood, steal from the rich, give to the poor, right? So what they did is they made their mission democratize finance for all. When they launched in 2015, they offered $0 commissions on stock and ETF trades. And in the meantime, most brokers, E-Trade, Schwab, TD Ameritrade, they still charge that $5 to $10 per trade. But in 2016, 2018, that changed. Actually, it was in 2019. Schwab announced in 2019, $0 commissions for US stock, ETF, and options trades. And look who followed, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Fidelity, everybody within days did the same thing because Robinhood was stealing market share because people were going there and saying, okay, I can place trades for free. And also I can buy fractional shares of a company. So if one stock is $300, I can buy $30 of it, right? You couldn't do that anywhere else. So again, democratizing finance. So Robinhood really forced the hand of all the legacy traders. And now it's like the norm, right? Everybody forgot that now nobody charges commissions for if you want to buy or sell a stock. But that used to be the case. And it's because of Robinhood that everybody switched. So obviously we know in 2021, that whole meme stock Reddit stuff happened. There was a big surge. A lot of new people found their way to the platform, to Robinhood. And now what we have is this more matured platform that is still in its young infancy growth phase, that is just crushing it all across the board. Now that Robinhood won over a lot of new users, how are they going to make money and keep expanding their business, right? Because they don't have the legacy model of, charging everybody $5 to $10 every time they trade. That was great. That was a gold mine, but they disrupted that and made it easier. So now what, right? Well, they launched Robinhood Gold, which is like, think of Amazon Prime or Costco membership, right? Where you get perks, whether it's discounts to other parts of that business. And Robinhood Gold recently started really taking off. So in the last 12 months, they went from 1.68 million members to 3.2. That is basically, they doubled their gold subscribers, right? The gold subscribers essentially get perks to the whole entire Robinhood tree, right? Whether it's if you're trading options, you get a discount per options contract. Credit card, the gold credit card, you can only get it and use it if you pay the $5 a month to be a gold member, right? And also, by the way, $5 a month, very, very cheap when you add all this value. Credit card, for example, you get 3% cash back, which you can literally spend a couple $1,000s and make back your entire annual Robinhood Gold subscription. And it doesn't stop there. You basically get perks and here's the thing, the value of that gold subscription can stay the same or increase slightly every year, but the price, that's the price. The value is going to keep going up and up and up and up and up. And that is like the Amazon model, the Costco model. And fast forward to today, even though it's still in its infancy, gold subscriptions are generating $200 million per year. And it's a no-brainer. Just like if you shop on Amazon, having Amazon Prime just makes all the sense in the world, right? Same day or 2-day or next day shipping, you get Amazon Prime Video. It just doesn't make, it's so cheap, it doesn't make sense not to have it. And so far of the, 25 million members. So they have like 20 something million funded customers, but the ones that are active on a monthly basis is around like, I want to say 15 million. Of the 15 million monthly active users, only 3.2 million have gold, right? People are just now starting to find out how awesome it is and the perks are getting like too good to ignore. And that's why we're seeing this crazy increase in gold subscribers, right? I mean, 8, 9, 10% per quarter, 100% increase in the last 12 months. And this is going to keep growing, right? Like Amazon Prime in its infancy was growing at like 50 to 60% annually for like years. I think maybe like the first 10 years, right? So we could see this get to the 10 million plus mark within the next 5 years. And it's going to keep going. And when a new user is subscribing to Robinhood Gold, let's say right now, that is extra money that is costing the company basically nothing. That's why I say Robinhood is a finance app or company, but with software margins. I mean, the gross margins are 84%. So what's next, right? I think the next growth wave for them is coming this fall. Yes, in 2025. So I was at the actual Robinhood Gold event where they unveiled Robinhood Banking, which now, again, they're closing the entire loop. They're making the ecosystem so strong, just like Apple has. And banking is the next step. And honestly, I can't wait for it because Robinhood user interface is so good that I just want everything to be there, right? It's very intuitive, just like how Apple's ecosystem is. That's kind of what they're doing, but for finance. And a new feature that is already out that was announced at the event is Robinhood Strategies, which is, again, another branch they just created out of thin air and can add to their entire profit tree. So this is honestly probably my favorite feature of Robinhood just because I can literally recommend it to anybody whether it's complete beginner that's never bought a stock in their life, whether it's somebody that has $200,000 in the bank and wants to invest, but maybe just doesn't have the time or doesn't care to do the due diligence, right? Again, democratizing finance. So what they did for removing that broker fee of like a commission for every trade, they're doing the same thing, but for wealth management, right? So right now, if you want somebody to manage your money, they're going to take, 1, 2, 3% per year on your money. So what Robinhood is doing is saying, okay, we're going to make a automated wealth manager. So they have their team where you basically set up your managed investing account and it asks you, I did it. I threw $500 in there just to see how it's going to perform. Essentially, it just asks you like a series of questions, like what risk tolerance do you have? What time frame? And after you get done answering those questions, it sets up an instant portfolio of, let's say, 24 stocks, some bonds, maybe it has gold, and every month it's going to shift things. So it's also going to tell you a summary of why it did whatever moves that it made for you on your behalf. On mine, prior to the tariffs, my summary was, because of the tariffs that are coming up, we de-risked your portfolio and sold off stocks and moved more into bonds and like some dividends. So it's going to do that on your behalf, but it's not going to take 1, 2, or 3% per year. It's going to cap it at 0.25% per year, 0.25. And the amazing thing is not even that. It's the max amount that you can pay per year for this service is $250. So you can have $1 billion in this managed investing account, and the max you will pay is $250 per year. Now let's do quick math, right? If you gave a money manager $1 billion, so let's do 1 billion times, let's say even 0.1, just 1% per year, you would pay $10 million per year if you were a billionaire and had $1 billion being managed, right? 10 million versus Robinhood's $250. Now that is going to attract a lot of not only newcomers, but people that are already wealthy and want their money to be managed in a sensible way. Honestly, I don't know how you don't see it at this point, right? Robinhood, their entire mission is democratizing finance. So what do I think the stock can do in the next 5, 6, 7 years? Well, here's the thing. I only know what features that they have planned right now. I think half of these features that you see that are earning money for them were added in the last like maybe 3 years. So who's to know how many more features that they've said they want to get into real estate transactions on their platform. They can literally, again, it's a platform that can build infinite verticals, infinite finance verticals with fixed costs that bring asymmetric profit returns to the company. It's an amazing business model, right? Think of it kind of like, all right, so what I did is I took their numbers for the last 12 months of revenue from each business and how much it generated, and I extrapolated that. And on the side, I kind of estimated how quickly, like what growth rate each one of these businesses separately can have, right? So for the gold subscriptions, I put an aggressive compounded growth rate at 50% because, again, I think when I look at Costco Gold memberships or Amazon Prime memberships in their first like 10, 15 years, their compounded growth rate was insane, right? Because obviously like the majority of the people are going to join in the first 10 or 15 years, and then it's going to slow down a bit, just like Netflix subscriptions, right? We're still in the early phase of that, and that's going to grow to, you'll see here in a little bit, it's going to grow quite a lot, right? But then on like the interest that the company's spare cash makes on the side, that's not really going to grow much at all, right? So I accounted for that. So I made sure to be like very fair and realistic. At the bottom here, you have total annual revenue estimated. These are my estimates, of course, right? I'm not saying this is how it's going to go. Could be higher, could be lower as well, right? Although I do think it's more likely to be higher just because these are only the features that we have today. 3 years from now, this list can double from 14 businesses. They could have 28 businesses. They could add real estate. They can add car insurance, literally anything they want. So for 2025, the last 12 months, a little over $3 billion in annual revenue. In 2026, that's going to grow a little bit with the launch of Robinhood Banking. I think that's going to start to ramp things up. And 2027, things are really going to start, kind of compounding fairly quickly. But by 2030, I wouldn't be surprised if they hit the $9 to $10 billion revenue mark, which is a 3x increase from today. And again, there's a lot of variables here. I could be wrong on a lot of these, or I could be right. And a lot of them could surprise us to the upside. In any scenario, the revenue for Robinhood is going to keep growing, right? Doesn't matter if it's 10% a year or 60% a year, it's going to keep growing for the foreseeable future. And when you have a company that can grow 20, 30, 40% a year for many years to come, that is a stock that is eventually, no matter what the short-term price action does, the market is eventually going to catch on and put a premium on the stock, right? What I mean by that is the valuation, the fair valuation could be, let's say, $40 billion. But because the market sees, okay, this is going to keep growing for the next 5 to 10 years. So we want it now. We want to pay for the future growth today. And that leads to a very high valuation, just like Tesla, right? Who has a historically high valuation because the market knows robotaxi, robotics, energy, those are businesses that are going to eventually really begin to ramp up. So they're paying for that today, right? So if Robinhood, I think today Robinhood has a undervalued valuation. 27 price to earnings for a growth stock is insane. Costco alone has a much higher valuation than Robinhood, right? Which is crazy because which one is like a newer tech software margin, high growth company, right? Obviously Robinhood. Costco, more than like double premium valuation than Robinhood does, right? And Costco is a much more mature business. I mean, they've been around since 1987. If Robinhood gets a premium like just Costco, right? That would double the market cap. The stock price would go to like $100, which I think is fair. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 12 months, this is a $100 stock because people are paying that premium. And if the quarterly results keep showing what they have been, meaning the growth is not stopping anytime soon, boom, like they add another business here. They add 2 more businesses here. Like I said, it's a platform that's going to infinitely grow more and more branches because they can. They have the customer base, they have the fixed costs, so they can just keep expanding and growing their revenue, right? So that's why I'm super bullish on Robinhood. And honestly, like I said, within 12 months, $100 stock. Within 5 years, right? When we get to like 2030, this is going to be a stock that is generating close to 10 billion in revenue by 2030, earning profits of like 3 billion a year more. With the current multiple of almost 30, we would have a $90 billion business. So I think the premium it should command is closer to 50 to 100 price to earnings. And when we get into those types of valuations, we're talking a stock that is in the hundreds with an S. So I think right now is a really good time for Robinhood because it's kind of proven its growth, it's proven its maturity, and it's had the comeback story. And a lot of people fell back in love with it. New people fell in love with it, and people are going to keep falling in love with it. And I'm seeing this on a daily basis, right? Not financial advice, but I would not want to miss or not be invested in the stock before Robinhood banking launches this fall in 2025, because that opens up another realm of revenue possibilities, another realm of customer stickiness. Robinhood banking is going to add even more value to that $5 a month Robinhood Gold membership because I think it's only available to Robinhood Gold members, right? And you can imagine it's going to pull in new people and you can imagine it's only going to get the attention of people that are not gold members, and that number is going to keep growing, right? This is what I mean. It's like this tree is an ever-growing tree. Only for $5 a month, you get perks to every single branch. So honestly, looking at the gold subscriptions alone, just like how Costco, it's like their bread and butter is the gold membership. So whether 1,000 people sign up for Robinhood Gold this month or 10 million sign up for Robinhood Gold this month, that's not really going to change their cost. That's going to bring them way more profits. So for 2030, I actually have Robinhood Gold subscriptions being a $1.5 billion business per year. And by 2032, I think that number is 3.5 billion plus. I don't have to sit here and convince you that their business is growing. You just pull up any of their latest earnings reports and you can see funded customers only going up into the right, gold subscribers up into the right, net deposits up into the right, total platform assets up into the right. In fact, it's almost doubled as well in the last 12 months. You can look at any of their metrics and they're just crushing it in every sense. Retirement doubled in the last 12 months. And this is, more serious investors, more serious people, I shouldn't say investors, more serious people that have retirement accounts that are bringing their money over. Just take a look at any metric that they have. It is up into the right. And that is what you want to see in a business that is categorized as like a growth stock, right? So a tech growth stock with software type margins is something that you just want to be in for the long term. So just like Tesla, this is not a stock you want to trade. This is stock you want to own and one you want to own for years to come, not just for the next 12 months. I think this is a triple digit stock and I think we will see triple digits within 2025.